You ever watch two birds chirping back and forth and wonder, what are they really talking about? Or you see a line of ants marching in perfect formation and think, how in the world do they know where to go? Well, it turns out the animal kingdom is having conversations all around us, all the time, using these incredible and sometimes secret languages. Today, we're going to try and decode some of them.
So yeah, that's the big question we're diving into. And it's so easy to just think of communication as, sounds that we can hear. But the reality is so much richer than that. We are literally surrounded by signals and messages and conversations that are absolutely vital for survival. We just have to learn how to see them and, get this, how to smell them.
All right, so first up, let's talk about the stuff we're most familiar with. The big, the loud, and the flashy. The world of signs, songs, and displays.
Right, so these are the conversations we can often see and hear pretty clearly. Think about the stunning feathers of a peacock. That's not just for show. It's a very loud and clear visual message to a potential mate that says, hey, I'm healthy and I've got great genes. Or a bird of paradise doing this incredibly intricate dance. That's body language as complex as any ballet. And then, of course, there are the sounds. From whale songs that travel for miles and miles underwater, to a meerkat's sharp little bark, which is an urgent warning to its whole family that a predator is nearby. These are the obvious messages, essential for mating, for defense, and for social life.
And this is the cool part, for every one of those obvious signals, like a peacock's tail, there's a hidden one. This really shows you the two worlds of animal communication. On one side, you've got the stuff we can see and hear. But on the other, there is this vast, invisible world of chemical cues, things like scent markings and pheromone trails that are just as important, and maybe even more so. This is where things get really fascinating. So let's dive into that hidden world. We're going to unlock the secrets of chemical signals. And this isn't some weird niche form of communication. No, this is actually the original conversation on planet Earth.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This quote really says it all. Before the first bird ever sang a song, before the first animal ever did a dance, they were talking to each other with chemicals. It is the most fundamental language of life on this planet.
Okay, so what exactly are these chemical words? Well, the most famous ones are called pheromones. A pheromone isn't just some random smell. It's a very specific chemical message that's released by one animal to cause a direct, predictable reaction in another animal of the same species. Think of it like a chemical command, a message that clearly says, come here, or stay away from my territory, or I'm ready to mate.
I love this description because it paints such a vivid picture. Animals aren't just smelling one or two things. They live in what scientists call a chemical cacophony, or my favorite, an olfactory cocktail party. Just imagine being at a party where hundreds of conversations are happening all at once, and you have to pick out the one voice you're listening for. That's the chemical world an animal has to navigate every single day.
So how do we even begin to decode this secret chemical code? Well, let's get into the nitty-gritty of how these incredible messages actually work.
Now, to give you an idea of just how new this science is and how much we still have to learn, look at this number, 63. That's it. In all mammals, scientists have only been able to fully identify and confirm 63 of these chemical signaling compounds. 63! Out of thousands of species and countless potential messages, it just shows you we have barely, and I mean barely, scratched the surface.
But the things we have discovered are just amazing. For example, take the female red-sided garter snake. The perfume she uses to attract a mate isn't just some simple scent. It's a precise, complex recipe of chemicals, specifically these things called long-chain methyl ketones that acts as a completely irresistible signal to males. It's a custom-blended message that screams, I'm here and I'm a female of your species. And the process itself is just beautiful in its simplicity. The female releases her unique chemical signature into the air or water. The male, who has these highly specialized receptors, picks up on those exact molecules out of all the chemical noise around him, and then he just follows that invisible trail right to her. It's like a chemical treasure map, where X marks the spot for the continuation of the species. And what's really interesting is that this chemical language isn't one size fits all. As you can see here, different groups of animals have evolved to use different types of chemical words. Reptiles, like that garter snake, often use things like ketones for mating. Mammals, on the other hand, might use more complex proteins and steroids to mark their territory. And get this, some birds even give off aldehydes from their feathers. a signal that can both attract mates and repel nasty parasites. How cool is that? So, this all brings us to the biggest question of all. Why does this matter? Why go to all the trouble of evolving these complex, hidden languages? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. It's all about survival. When you boil it all down, every single one of these signals, from a bee's little dance that tells her sisters where to find nectar, to a skunk's powerful chemical warning, to a specific pheromone in a rabbit's milk that literally tells her babies where to nurse, it's all directly tied to the most basic challenges of life. Communication isn't a luxury. It's the essential toolkit for staying alive. And you know, understanding all this isn't just a fun academic exercise. It has massive, real-world consequences. If we want to help endangered species, or design wildlife corridors that actually work, or manage invasive species, we have to understand how they communicate, because disrupting these chemical conversations can be just as devastating as cutting down their forest. So we end up back where we started, but hopefully with a much deeper appreciation for all the quiet conversations happening around us. We have only just started to translate this ancient chemical language, and it really makes you wonder, if this is what we've learned from the tiny fraction we understand, what other incredible secrets is the natural world just waiting to tell us?